If you've been following the channel, you know that I've been having some battery issues on my kayak. So on my new Hobie Pro Angler 12, I've been having battery issues for the fish finder. The battery has worked from 2 minutes to 2 hours. I haven't been able to really use that side scan unit, and I really want to use it. I want to figure out this structure, I want to find these deeper spots, and I want to take advantage of those fish that haven't seen a lure in a while. So I thought it was the battery, and it turns out it was only the charger. But I don't like the specific charger or the plug that comes with this battery. So what I'm gonna do is install some Hobie connectors to the new style batteries. So let's go do that right now. Here are the components that I'm gonna use to create my new battery system. I have these two new batteries, but they have connections that I don't like to use. So I bought these Hobie parts accessories, and with these connectors, I'll be able to charge the new batteries with the charger I like. I also have this old Remco battery, which I'll be using for another project in the future. So what I'm going to start off doing is getting these Hobie connections onto these new batteries. And the tools for the job, I'm going to use these sealed crimp connectors. They crimp the wires together, and then you apply some heat to the connections and it tightens around the wire, creating a seal, hopefully to not let water in. I'll also be adding some shrink tube for added protection. I'm going to use some side angle wire cutters, some crimps, some wire strippers, dielectric grease, and some 3M electrical tape. So here's the battery that I want a new connection on. And the first thing we're going to do is cut off the old plug. As you can see, inside of the casing is a black and a red wire. We're going to match up the black and reds to the connectors, get this thing stripped in. Now we need to cut that outer casing to expose those two wires so we have enough wire to use those crimps. Now that we have enough wire dug out of that outer casing, we're going to strip back a good amount of the wire. The connectors are quite big. I'm going to end up doubling the wire. Here's the Hobie parts bag. Here's the number on the part if you're interested. It comes with a male and female connector. The wires are already stripped. It comes with some butt cap connections that do have dielectric grease in them if you want to go that route. Here are the crimp connectors I'm going to use. They're 16 gauge. It's going to fit that Hobie connection great, but it's not going to fit the battery very well. So I'm going to end up doubling the wire on the battery so that I can get that crimp on both sides. So we're going to go ahead and trim it up a little bit. We don't need that long of a tag end. I'm going to go ahead and throw some heat shrink on these wires before putting the connectors on. I'm going to add a small amount of dielectric grease to the wire. Before putting the connectors on, go ahead and slide the crimp on and then get the crimpers in the right area and squeeze. Give it a tug. Make sure that the wire is snugly on there. You don't want this coming off. You want to make sure the wire is crimped. So you do want to give it a little pull after you're done crimping it. It's a real easy connection here. It's telling you what to do. Run red to red and black to black. I'm going to smooth out these wires. I'm going to double wrap them to make a bigger wire so that it sits inside of the crimp housing with a thicker purchase when I use the crimpers. Make sure the wire is seated inside of the crimp connector and go ahead and give it a squeeze. Also give it a pull. Make sure that the wires are securely inside of the connectors. So we're going to hit those crimp connections with some heat and watch how they tighten up around the wire. We'll get the heat shrink tubing around that as well. Let's wrap everything up with some electrical tape, ensuring that this is a watertight connection. Here are the two new batteries with the two new connections, and now I can use my Hobie charging system. I like the way this charging system works. You really don't have to fumble with it. It's either it goes in one side or the other. Now here's that old battery, and I had one connector left. And what I want to eventually do is build a small bait tank for the kayak. So I have my old bilge pump from the boat. So let's make sure the bilge pump's still working. Let's hook everything up. We'll hook up the connection and we'll test the bilge pump. There you go, and you can see it's working. So I'll build this bait tank in a future video. Now I'm in the kayak and I need to install the new female connector to the fish finder. Fastlane Kayaks put together this cool little box. It houses the connection and the fuse. You can never be too safe with fishing products, so you want to make sure that everything is waterproof as possible, watertight as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the old plug and install the new Hobie plug. All right, we're going to do a similar wiring situation as we did in the beginning of the video. Again, red to red, black to black. We're going to use those crimp connections again, seal everything up. You want to make sure to give everything a pull after you crimp it to ensure that you have a solid crimp. If you ever do have any problems, these are the areas to look. You want to look at your crimps. You want to make sure those connections are solid. Red to red, black to black. We're going to heat up those crimp connectors. Make sure that plastic's tight against the wire. Again, we're going to hit everything with electrical tape also, just to ensure that we have a pretty good seal. We want to keep out as much water and moisture as possible. And now everything fits back in this box really nicely. So waterproof box, I'm going to keep it off of the floor of the kayak. And here's that box. I zip tied it tight inside of the hole. If the boat does flood, it will be away from the water, and the connection will be high up on the kayak as well. Now for the battery itself, I'm going to need to create some sort of mounting system for that, but I'll figure that out a little bit later. And here it is. Here's the connection. All nice, all tight. And now we can use our new battery. And let's see if the fish finder works. There's Mission Bay. You can see I don't have too many marks in Mission Bay, but let's go ahead down to San Diego Bay. And there's San Diego Bay. Got a ton of marks happening there. I obviously do a lot of fishing in San Diego Bay and have a lot of deeper structures. Very happy to have this fish finder working with side scan. Now let's go over to the kayak for the guests. So I already have that Hobie plug installed. So let's make sure everything's working. We're gonna go ahead and plug it in and let's see if that fish finder is working. There we go. We got hook 4 working as well. So we got the fish finder working on this kayak with the new battery as well. Very happy to have all these electronics figured out. I want to thank you all for joining me on this modification, this fix. I've been trying to fix this issue for a while now, and I know this is gonna work. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll get back to those. I'll leave a link in the description for some of the components and product that I use in this video. Thanks for all the support you're giving WARBAITS and this channel. The channel continues to grow, and it's because of you. We appreciate all the likes and subscribes, and our message of positive fishing is getting out there more and more. Also, thanks for all those orders on the website. The site's been really busy. We ship every day, and it's 1 to 3 days priority shipping. Hopefully something in this video inspired you to go fishing or fix some of your gear. So as always, get out there, go fishing, hook that giant.